Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. Today I have a book review for you again for a Most Wanted book from the 2013 era, whatever it was. This is a book that my grandmother got me years before she passed away. So in a weird way, the physicality of the book itself actually gives me some kind of nostalgia in a lot of ways. I've never read this book before. This is my first time ever reading it and reviewing it and whatnot. But I really had a good time reading this. I thought it was such a fun book. It's a sequel book. Not really directly, but a sequel bring back the villain type of thing from a previous book from the Horrorland series called, what was it, Dr. Maniac versus Robbie Schwartz? Robbie Schwartz versus Dr. Maniac, something like that. I think it's like book 6 of the Horrorland series, or book 5, something like that. That book was good, it was fine for what it was. It wasn't great, I did a review for that here on the channel in case you want to check that out as well. But I have a book review here for Goosebumps Most Wanted, number 5, Dr. Maniac Will See You Now by R.L. Stine. This was so much fun. The cover's not much. The cover's not much at all. Of course, you have Dr. Maniac here, and just the book itself was so much more enjoyable than the first one was. And this is just such a blast to read, man. There's so much here. If you love comic books, like myself, if you grew up on comic books, which I did not really, I kind of just grew up on cartoons and movies and stuff like that of comic book stuff. I never really read the comics until I got into like my teenhood and whatnot, my young adulthood. And I love comic books. I really do. And reading this, seeing so many things in here that I just absolutely enjoyed the crap out of. For example, the kids in here go to, I believe it's Hugh Jackman Middle School. Yeah, Hugh Jackman, who plays Wolverine. Yeah. Hilarious. Just so many good little nods like that to constant comic book stuff that people will know. Pretty basic knowledge stuff for comic book stuff. Really cool stuff in here. I love the book so much. It's not an amazingly great book or anything, but I think even the ending is satisfying for what the story is. I had a blast reading this. Basically, Richard has a lot of allergies, which I can relate to. In April, dude, like the first week of April, you guys might have heard me talk about this in the past videos in the past, but I have horrible allergies, and usually like the first week of September, first week of April, somewhere in that ballpark, I literally can't even see out of my left eye. Like, it swells up from the rubbing and the pollen and all that stuff, and I hate it. But Richard has worse allergies. He has the kind of thing where he sneezes all the time for no reason. He's allergic to air, you know, that kind of thing. His parents fight all the time. But they love his younger brother, Ernie, who's just a douchebag. I mean, I can't stand this kid. Every time he's in the book, he's not supposed to be likable, but you just really can't stand him. A lot of people hate Kermit, I believe is his name, from the Monster Blood books that read Goosebumps. And I'll tell you, if you think Kermit's worse than this kid, they're close. This kid's worse. I hate Ernie's guts. I genuinely do. It doesn't ruin the book for me. You're supposed to not like this kid. It's kind of the point with the finale and everything else. But Ernie himself just sucks. I mean, he does. Our main character, Richard, at school, Hugh Jackman Middle School, whatever it was, gets teamed up in class to do a book report project thing, focusing basically on whatever he and his partner want to do. He gets teamed up with a girl he has a crush on named Bree. And he kind of pushes onto her that he'll do all the work if they get to do about comic books at the comic book museum nearby. And she's like, all right, whatever, you know, as long as you're going to do all the work, I just don't want to be seen in public with you. And she literally says that like 3 or 4 times. And they can be in the worst possible situation. And she'll be like, go over there. I don't want to be around you. I don't want people to see me beside you. I don't even want the chance for people to think we are friends. Or acquaintances, for that matter. That's kind of what she does to him. It's kind of horrible. Just a Mean Girls type of thing. She is what she is. She's throughout the entire book she's like this. I mean, it is what it is. But Richard's likable. I actually do enjoy his company quite a bit. He loves comic books. That's a big reason why he wants to do this whole comic book museum project thing. His parents get him to go to a doctor's appointment for a new allergy doctor they've talked about and fought about. And again, the parents fight the entire book all the time. And Richard goes to this doctor. He's very weird. He has to stuff like a big old long needle in his back. And me, I had back issues about 2 years ago. I basically did some horrific issues with my back. And I was down for like a year. And I had to do the whole long needles in the spine type of thing. And it is not fun. It is not fun when you see things like that. And poor Richard basically faints when he gets the shot in his back. And essentially when he wakes up, he starts seeing some things when he goes to visit the museum across the street. He happens to notice that there are people that he's friends with that aren't there anymore. You know, mainly one guy behind a desk that he's really close with. A lot of weird stuff happens over the couple of days this book takes place over. And then some other things start happening. Like he and Ernie will be walking down the street and they'll see 2 superheroes from comics that he reads all the time running across housetops and rooftops and stuff, right? Then he comes across Dr. Maniac, who he knows from comic books. And Dr. Maniac tries to basically beat him up. And then there's some other villains in here that I swear I've heard mentioned before, like the Purple Rage. I swear that there is a villain called the Purple Rage referenced in like Attack of the Mutant from the original Goosebumps series, or like in the previous book, Robbie Schwartz versus Dr. Maniac, whatever it's called. I could have sworn I've heard of the Purple Rage from somewhere in Goosebumps. I've never read this book before, so I don't know. But I know that name from somewhere in Goosebumps. Maybe it's in like a Horrorland video game or something. I don't know. But please let me know down below if you know. The Purple Rage is involved here, and he basically is angry all the time, and he has like the funniest wording of how he says things. He'll essentially be like, you know what pickles my petunia? You know, he'll say stuff like that, and he'll be like, whatever they're doing, you know, like, you know what pickles my petunia? Having to cross bridges, I hate bridges, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Purple Rage is really fun. I thought I'd hate his guts when he first got on the scene. I really liked him. Dr. Maniac is hilarious. I mean, hilarious. Funnier than I thought he was in the previous book, from what I remember. That little bit of memory, whatever, that I had. In this book, the way this book is written, if this was ever turned into a film or a TV show, I'm telling you, Jim Carrey needs to play Dr. Maniac. He would be perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. The way his performance was in The Mask and Liar, Liar and all that, he could pull this role off so well. I mean, Jim Carrey would be perfect. He's usually the physical actor everybody goes for like Majin Buu for Dragon Ball, if it was ever a film. All these different things people talk about that are kind of the kooky, wacky characters like the Riddler he played in Batman. I'm telling you, Jim Carrey needs to be Dr. Maniac at some point, even if it's just a cameo in like a Goosebumps 3 or a background thing or just one episode of Goosebumps, the TV show's reboot thing coming out. Jim Carrey needs to play Dr. Maniac. I'm telling you, I think this was written after him. It just fits him so well. The physicality, some of the jokes are absolutely hilarious. Like, had me laughing out loud. That's not something that's easy to do, with Goosebumps or otherwise. I don't really laugh out loud that very much often when it comes to books. Movies and TV shows can do it to me. Sometimes comics can do it, depending on how good it's written and how it's drawn and whatnot. But books, like regular books, no. It's not very common, and this book got me laughing a couple of times. It's very lighthearted, very silly, very fun, very comic booky, and it works so well as a comic book type of universe and feel to it. Essentially, they're trying to figure out how these superheroes and supervillains are leaking themselves out into the world from the comic book museum, possibly coming from the museum. They don't know for sure if it's from the museum, they just kind of assume that it is. And Bree is stuck in the situation with our main character, Richard, and Ernie is kind of in the midst there a little bit too, not for a long time, but kinda. And I'll tell you this, there's even a couple of moments in here, some body horror stuff, that really got to me. One in general, kind of involving a beach, if you will. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about more than likely. That scene really kind of shocked me. They would never be able to pull that off in an episode of a TV show. They could not get away with that at all. I'm a little surprised it was in a Goosebumps book. But I don't really have much more to say about this. I know I have some people in my comment section like Spongy. Spongy commented, I believe, on my original review for Dr. Maniac versus Robbie Schwartz, or whatever it was called, from the Horrorland series, the previous book of the Dr. Maniac series. I believe it was Spongy that said in the comment that he thought that book was better than this one, something like that. I think this is loads better, and I think this is like miles better. It's not an amazing book, but it's pretty fun for what it is as a Goosebumps book, as a kid's book, as a middle grade book, as an R.L. Stine read, all that stuff. Comic book references and everything else. If you love that kind of stuff, this is chock full of that kind of thing. I think it'll be perfect for you, right up your alley of interest. I think it's a great book. I really recommend it tremendously. I would argue that aside from Little Comic Book Shop of Horrors, which is a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, and Attack of the Mutant, this is up there as one of the best comic book books of Goosebumps ever. Not including the actual comics themselves, because they're usually pretty bad, but straight up novels from Goosebumps that are focused on comic book interests and whatnot. This is one of the best. Easily. So good. I love this book. I thought it was such a great read. When it comes to Goosebumps Most Wanted, what is it called? Dr. Maniac Will See You Now. If I had to rate this book on a 5-star basis, I would easily give this a high 4 out of 5 stars. It's such a good book. Such a good, fun read. So much lightheartedness to it, and just kind of different for 2020 and all the insanity we're going through right now with this world. This was so different. Completely different. It was a very fun read, very enjoyable read. I recommend it highly. If you haven't read it, please check it out. Please give it a chance. If you love comic books and you love Goosebumps, this is perfect for you. It really is a perfect book for you. Anyway, put your thoughts and comments down below, guys. I would love to hear what you have to say about this wild, unexpected surprise of a book. I really love this. I thought it was a really good, fun time. I recommend it tremendously. I really do. I think it's something that should really kind of shock a lot of people how much they would like this. And again, you don't have to read the first book from the Horrorland series, but you can just kind of jump into this one directly, and I think you'll love this a lot more than the first book. First book was fine. It was a good book. This is a really genius type of comic book throwback type of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. What are your thoughts? Put your thoughts in comments down below again. Thank you so much for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today. 4 out of 5 stars for me. Great book. Really great, really just different, fun read from Goosebumps. And it's very odd when you get a book like this that it's so different from most Goosebumps books. And again, to have a satisfying ending, to be a newer book from the last 10 years, I mean, it's pretty hard to get a good, satisfying ending from a lot of the newer Goosebumps books. This is a really solid one, I think. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Again, may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you again, and goodbye.